With the power of Tandem HR, you are in the fast lane on Main Street with Get Down to Business with Shalom Klein, the show for business and jobs. Now, the champion of networking, the advocate of jobs, the guru of business, your host, Shalom Klein.
The famous motivational speaker Zig Ziglar once said, "You are born to win, but to be a winner, you must plan to win, prepare to win, and expect to win." I try to motivate people the same way all the time, but Zig Ziglar certainly had it right. We are all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship and business. We talk a lot about business here. You're on with Get Down to Business, and I'm your host, Shalom Klein. Remember, you can always download podcasts from Get Down to Business on my website at shalomklein.com. And while you are there, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Shalom Klein. Get Down to Business is powered by Tandem HR, your solution center. You can find them at www.tandemhr.com or email them simplify@tandemhr.com. Once again, visit their website for lots of information, www.tandemhr.com. This week, we will be joined by guest Deanna Shoss, Jerry Witkowski, Dan Weinfurter, and David Friedman. We've got a lot of information to share with you, but I'm honored to have in studio our next guest, Deanna Shoss. Deanna and I have gotten to know each other over the past few years and really worked together in a number of organizations. And she's here to talk about something really, really important, something I'm just super excited to learn about. I've always wondered, how do you develop that right pitch to succinctly and powerfully describe your organization or your business? Deanna, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Shalom. It's wonderful to be here.
So, Deanna, before we get into the nuts and bolts of the conversation, tell us a little bit about why you're so passionate about that subject. And passion is, I know, a word we're going to be using some more of.
Absolutely. So it's how do you immediately, well, first of all, you only have about a fifth of a second to make an impression. That's how quickly people sometimes decide if you are someone that they want to do business with. I would say, too, it's about communications. It's about connecting across people you may not have met, people who are different from you. And it's something I live and breathe, not only in my work and helping other people learn how to do that, but I'm also part of an intercultural, interfaith marriage for a number of years. And I love, it's fantastic when people can come together and find a purpose and a knowledge and understand each other, no matter what their differences are in their backgrounds.
So you understand better than most people how to communicate a message, and you help your clients and your friends do that every day, which is exciting. So we're thrilled that you're here to share some of those tips. So, Deanna, what is the one bit of advice? If you said you only have a few seconds to capture somebody's information, if you were able to talk to some of our listeners, what's the one bit of advice that you'd want to share with them?
Don't give a list of tasks. People often say, what do you do for a living? And they'll start reciting the things. I file papers, I do this, and you can tell eyes are glazing over. And T.S. Eliot said that if I had had more time, I would have written a shorter letter. So what I would tell people is start with your passion, because when you talk about what motivates you, that's where your eyes gleam, and that really helps draw people into what you do.
And I know my parents are listening now, and they make fun of me all the time for overusing that word passion. They tell me all the time that I use the word passion more than any other word in a conversation. But you know what? That describes who I am, and I think who you are as well, Deanna. You have to be passionate in order to be successful. If you want to really convey a message and convey enthusiasm, you have to care about what you're talking about. You have to care about the causes you're involved in really every piece of your life. And I'm involved in a lot of things. And exactly as you said, Deanna, I think you summed it up so well. I'm involved in a lot of things, but rather than sort of saying it's this and it's that, every project I'm involved in, every organization I'm involved in, everything that I try to spend even a minute of my time, I'm passionate about it and I care about it. And that's what the show is all about. It's about sharing the stories of success, sharing people's passion that becomes a reality. But Deanna, one of the things that you and I have spoken about is the 3 Ps. Tell us a little bit about that.
So the 3 Ps are, the one is the passion. What's that core value that drives everything that you do? It could be about helping people find jobs. And no matter what you do, I know, Shalom, you've talked about that. No matter what you do, it kind of draws back to how do I connect people together to help people connect and find jobs or to build business. For me, it's the intercultural. There's usually one common core that drives your passion. But I also say make it playful, because that passion may be something that's important to you. It may be new to the person you're speaking with. And so, for example, the communication that I talk about, make it playful. Remember the old game telephone, where one person whispers in one ear and then the other and the other? By the time it gets out to the public, is your message still understood? And so that's what I do for a business, is to help people make sure that how they communicate what they do is actually understood by those that are receiving it. That's really important.
So that's one of the P's.
That's the second P. Make it playful. What's some sort of image that will help someone who's never met you before easily understand? A doctor. It's like the Roto-Rooter. I'm going to clean out your heart so that it works better. You can always come up with some sort of playful image that makes it more objective for someone to understand you. So that's your second P. The third thing I would say is I wish that it came naturally, but it actually doesn't. To be succinct and to have really good messages, you have to practice, both from the point of view of practice what you think is your passion and what you think is your playful idea. Watch people's reaction. Are they connecting? Are they glazing over? Are they nodding? Because with the elevator pitch, or with telling people about what you do, you don't need to tell them everything you do in that first sentence. What you're really hoping for at the end of that 30 seconds is that person looks at you and says, "Oh, tell me more." And that's where you can go into the details of how your business might help them, or other specifics of products or services that you offer. But you've got to get them excited, and you've got to get them to want to know more to go to that next level.
Well, our listeners can't see me right now, and our listeners can't see each other, but I have a hunch that many of our listeners are nodding enthusiastically right now in agreement. So, Deanna, that actually leads me to my other passion, which is trying to encourage people to sort of live the dream and take an idea and ride the wave to turn it into a reality. And practice is something that a lot of people don't get a lot of, because when somebody's coming straight out of college and they have an idea and they want to turn it into a reality, they have a business idea or they have a community idea, they haven't had a lot of experience to try to practice that message and practice that passion. What advice do you have for our listeners out there that are young entrepreneurs, young college graduates? How do they turn their idea into a reality if they don't have the experience of those 3 Ps that you just mentioned?
Mm-hmm. So actually, and that's what my company, Intercultural Talk, I say that we like to walk the talk. That's exactly what it's about, is helping people align all of their messaging, all of their things, so they can really do what they say that they want to do. I really think that, and that's what's exciting about being an entrepreneur or being a business person, any relationship, any person you meet is actually a chance to practice, to always have that idea of here's what I do, here's what I want to do. You never know who you meet, what their connections are, and where that relationship might grow or go. So I would say that any moment, through volunteer work, through your school activities, through even helping your family understand what it is that you do, those are always opportunities with every single person that you meet.
Well, that leads me to my next question. Do you believe that advice that you just shared, the 3 Ps, is different for business and for nonprofit activities, for community activities? Or is it the same idea that it's those same things that you need to perfect all the time?
I think that it's the same. The difference may be actually in terms of how it manifests or how people react, because when you're working with a not-for-profit, that passion sometimes might be helping someone who's in need or providing a community service. And so there may be a broader appeal. I think when you're talking about business, sometimes you're starting with your own passion, but you're also starting with a problem that it solves for someone else. And maybe with a nonprofit, it's a problem that we're solving in community. But for a business owner, when you're speaking to someone, it's a question of the service I provide. Don't you hate when I'm thinking now even there are dialysis centers all over the place. You can go on a dialysis cruise. You can go on a dialysis hotel. And someone at some point said, gosh, don't you think it's awful that people on dialysis are so tied to one single location? They started with a problem that they could solve and then came up with a solution for it.
Absolutely. And that comes about, as you said, it doesn't happen on day one. You need to practice, and you need to surround yourself with good mentors and people that can give you good advice. And our next guest knows a thing or two about that. We're going to be talking with Jerry Witkowski, who is actually an author of a book, and we're going to be talking some more about that. But Deanna, we've got about 30 seconds left. Can you share your contact information so you can continue that conversation about the 3 Ps and intercultural talk and conversations?
Fantastic. Yes, please. The easiest is always just through the website. So it's interculturaltalk.com. And I invite people to take a look. There's a blog there also with different ideas and tips for networking and perfecting your speech, communication tips and things as well.
Fantastic. And as Deanna Shoss of Intercultural Talk just told us, be passionate. Be passionate. And I am passionate about our event that's coming up on October 30th. It's called the Business Event. It's taking place at Block 37 downtown. I hope you'll join me, Deanna, Jerry, our next guest, at the Business Event October 30th. Download podcasts from my show. Find out more information about the event at shalomklein.com. After the break, we're talking more small business jobs and entrepreneurship.